Good morning and welcome to another wonderful Wednesday, even if it's a wonderfully wet Wednesday. That's alright, my grass needed the rain and so did my plants, so I appreciate not having to go out and water them today. I hope you guys all have a fun day planned, even if it's an indoor fun day. But for right now, let's get on to our math for the day. Just a quick peek at the whole stretch. We've got your number talk, which I will help you with momentarily. You've got another model drawing to do today, which I will have a video up for in a little bit. Today we're switching over from multiplying fives to dividing by fives. So instead of needing cards where 5 is a factor and it's given to you, you may have to look for one where 5 is a missing factor. So make sure that you find all those and work your way through that so that you are getting really fast at your division facts. And then if you have time, you could always practice playing that equivalent match game. Remember, it works just like memory. You just have to cut those cards out and then play it just like you would memory. With that being said, let's pop over to your things. Looking at my directions, I know they're hard to see on the video, but it says arrange the following numbers in increasing order. Okay, in is a prefix in this case, and it means to go up. So I want my numbers to get bigger as I go. Alrighty, so here we go. Let me zoom this in for you. Alright, so we've got 4 numbers here, and I took the time to stack them. If you remember when we looked at it in our book suggested that you should stack them, and I tend to agree with them because now I can look at their place values and I can decide which place values are helpful to me. I've got my decimals all lined up, and then I've got one place value per grid paper. If you don't have grid paper, that's fine. Just try to stack them up on any paper, but make sure you're being careful. I know that for my kids this year, sloppy math was their #1 enemy for getting problems right versus wrong. So take your time and actually line them up correctly. All right. Now going through this thing, I've got all my place values. I'm looking over here and I see that 9 is the biggest, so this must be the biggest number. So I'm going to start there. What's wrong with what I just said? If you're thinking to yourself that I chose the smallest place value and that was the wrong spot to start, good for you. Because you really need to start with your biggest place value, and here's why. I just said that 9 was bigger than all these other numbers in the place value, so this must be the biggest number. But this says 9 thousandths. What I just said was 9 thousandths suddenly makes 11 bigger than 13. Does that make sense? No. This number is actually the smallest because when I go over to the largest place value, I can see that all my tens are the same, so that doesn't help me. But if I'm looking at the ones place, I have a 3, a 1, a 3, and a 2. I know that 1 is the smallest of all those numbers, so 11 must be smaller than the 13, and the 12. This will be my smallest number. Now it says to go in increasing order, so I need to find the next biggest number. Going back over, it doesn't help me to go in my tens place, but if I go to the ones place, I'm dealing with a 2, a 3, and a 3. Of those, which one should I be looking at for the second smallest? It's this one, so I'm going to go here. Now I've got 13 and 13, so that doesn't really help me. I'm going to have to use the decimal side of my number to help myself figure it out. Tenths is the next biggest decimal value. So I'm looking at a 4 versus a 0. Where am I at here? The 4 is going to be bigger because 4 beats 0. So this will be my third number, and then my fourth in increasing order, meaning this is my largest number. Okay? Down here onto the second one, you can use the same strategy, help yourself out, except now look at this. None of those place values help me because they're all the 3. And none of the tenths place values help me out because they're all 0. And then when I get over here, 2 of them have 4s and 2 of them have a 5. That's super tricky. So how do I decide what that looks like? Anyone remember? If you're thinking to yourself that those empty place values have no value, you're right. And there's a number for that. It's 0. Now once I filled those in, I can look and say to myself, all right, well, I would rather have 49 of something than 40 of something. So this one must be the smallest, which would make 49 second smallest. Now I'm looking at 50 compared to 59 thousandths. Which one's better? 59 is bigger, so I want this one and then this one. All right, one more practice with me, and then this is the one your teachers are looking for. So we have 182 across the board. That doesn't help me. Now I can go over here and look. I've got that. I've got an open place value, so for my brain, I'm going to fill it in with a 0 so that I can really think about the numbers I'm looking at. Okay, I've got 2 sets with 0, so I know those are going to somewhat be smallest because I've got a 1 and a 2, and 0 doesn't beat those. So I go to the next place value, and between those two I have a 2 or a 5. 2 is smaller, so that'll be my smallest number. And then this one has to be next because 0 is still smaller than the other two. Which takes me to looking at back to my 10th place value because that was the first time these two were different. I've got a 1 and a 2. I know that 1 is smaller than 2, so this one must be the third. And then this one will be the largest place value. Alrighty, you're on your own for this guy. Make sure you take your time, stack them up, fill in with blanks so that you can really look at your numbers and organize it correctly. Have a good day, guys. I forgot to mention that when you guys go to write this out for your teacher, make sure you write it as a list. So the correct answer for this would really look like this, because that was my smallest number, followed by my second smallest number, then my third, and finally the largest number. Now they're written in an increasing order. They're getting bigger and bigger and bigger as I write. Alrighty?